This meets that. This meets that. You pick this and I'll pick that. We'll put them together and what do you get? A movie we describe as This Meets That. This meets that. Yeah!
Welcome back to This Meets That, podcast where we take two movies, mash them together to create a new movie that would be described as This Meets That. How's it going, Steve?
I'm doing well, Ben. I'm ready to mash some things together, make something new, and create cinema gold right here on this show.
And as always, these are available for sale. Anybody wants to buy these ideas, just,
I don't know how copyright laws work, but if we come up with it in our brains, it means we own it, and you have to pay us.
You do not steal this, and it won't even be all that expensive, So, do you have a movie?
I do.
So do I. It's been a while since we've done one of these. I don't even know how far back it goes, but
we've just been so busy covering so many things. It's good to take a break and focus on creativity.
All right. 3, 2, 1. The
Jeepers
Ring.
Creepers. Oh, we went two horror movies. Interesting.
Okay.
So we got to make this the happiest movie of all time.
All right. The Ring meets Jeepers Creepers, but that happens a lot. You get it's a ghost story, but it's also kind of a slasher. So it's not too out of the ordinary.
All right. So what are the main pieces of these two movies? So for The Ring, we have haunted videotape, 7 days,
cursed, because of a child who was killed by their mother and drowned in a well, and took 7 days to die. Well, if you watch it, you have 7 days before you die, unless you pass it on to someone else.
And then we have Jeepers Creepers, a unidentified being
some boogin from the past
that skins people and eats them or something,
and then puts them up on his walls. They're all waxy. Remember, he has inside his little hole. They're all glued to the walls. But with both of these have in common is with The Ring, you have 7 days, and Jeepers Creepers, it's every 23 years it comes back. It's the third week of March every 23 years is when he comes back. I think we just had it.
I thought that was just an it thing.
No. I mean, maybe it's not 23. It may actually be longer. But there is some sort of time period.
Oh, fair enough.
It.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay, see, I used to love Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah.
And over the years, I don't love it so much. The first 30 minutes are pretty badass. But as soon as they run him over and his wing pops up and you realize he's kind of an actual monster and not just a crazy person, my interest goes down. I don't really like the monster side of it, because just that shot of them driving by and him looking at them after he dumps the body, super scary. One of a great scene from horror movies. And, who doesn't love Justin Long? Mix it with The Ring. So what if just spitballing.
Okay.
So there's a couple of kids that are on the road. You know how these things always start.
Of course.
And I'll say let's set it in the 90s, because both of them are not in, I think, modern time periods. I think they're back a few years. And they're videotaping their road trip. And they're passing the doobies back and forth. And, the couple's making out. And the shy one's trying to do homework. And they pass by something spooky. Like him dropping the body in the well, or it's a scarecrow and they're looking. The scarecrow turns its head as they pass by.
Did you guys see that? See what, nerd?
That scarecrow. What scarecrow? So they record their whole vacation, and then they end up dead or missing something. So the police are investigating it, and they close the case as we don't know. Something happened. They ran off into the woods. They drowned in the lake, but we don't know. So their parents or other loved ones are collecting their belongings from the police station, and one of them has that camcorder. And the cops are like, we looked at it. We didn't see anything suspicious. So they're looking at the videotape, and they start noticing some weird things, like a scarecrow in the cornfield looking at them. You're giggling. What's going on?
I have a thought in my brain.
Do it. Let's hear it.
No, you finish yours.
And so when they start combing through this videotape, they start seeing things that are maybe out of the ordinary. Like, well, why is Josh writing with his left hand? He's not left-handed. Huh, that's weird. And so is drinking chamomile tea. They're allergic to chamomile tea. So, like, for some reason, things are different, and they have to, like, figure out what's going on. What is going on? I don't know. I'm just spitballing. It's the first thing that came to my mind.
All right, so kind of a similar setup. You have a group of friends on a road trip, and they're like, like science students or whatever,
Okay.
and they're doing like science stuff for school. Like
Science students are doing science stuff.
Yes.
What the fuck?
They're out in this farm area because they're testing water from a nearby factory.
The runoffs.
The runoff.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just basically taking like samples and everything, and they're just like, I think this would be good for class because there's rumors of this going on, but maybe we can prove it. Yada yada yada. And so they're taking these samples. They're out in the field. They notice a well. It's like, oh, we'll take some of that well water because that's it's from the earth and it could be polluting. Yada yada yada. They go in there. Creature comes, bloop, brings them down, and these students go missing. Time goes by, and what you come to realize is that the creature that's down there is turning them into like his own little puppets. And one of those puppets, those two science puppets come out to be the two science puppets from
Beaker and Bunsen?
Beaker and Bunsen, yeah. And then you call
Bunsen Honeydew.
God. And then you call the movie Meepers Peepers. Fuck you. Because he goes. That was the whole joke.
And Bunsen, he doesn't have eyes. He just has glasses, and eyes are also called peepers. So Meepers Peepers, that kind of makes sense.
that was the whole bit. Like,
wow.
I'm just imagining him just going like, just Jeepers Creepers, Meepers Peepers. I don't know.
Well, I kind of like that idea of there is some sort of monster that is snatching up kids in the woods. And maybe it comes out every, so many years to feed before it goes and lays its eggs and goes into hibernation or whatever. And it stores these people in a well. Like you're being dragged through the woods to this old abandoned well from, the Civil War era. And so this couple get dumped into it and they're floating in just like the waste of the former people who have been in there. Maybe there's even someone alive down there already. Like they hear the screams coming from the woods. They go to investigate, and there's this little girl in the well. Help, help. I got taken from my campsite. My parents are scared sick. I've been in this well for like 4 days. Help me out. And they try to get her out, and then they're on a race to get out of there because the monster's hot on their heels. And, but maybe, the little girl, she's in on it. She's the lure. She's like an anglerfish. She's the little light. Yeah. So it's a symbiotic relationship somehow. Like Clayface in that Batman episode where he had that little girl that Robin fell in love with, and it was just actually a part of Clay. Anywho, so there's this little girl, and she is purposely down there, and she's like a siren. She calls people over, and most of the time she's able to like pull them into the well because it's one or two people. But this is like a group of people, so she can't really do that. So she kind of has to play along, but she doesn't want to lose these people. This is a good score. This will feed her monster. And so she has to pretend to be all in distress. And, the monster eventually wakes up from its slumber, sees the little girl is missing out of the well, and is tracking them down. It's called Well, Well, Well. Sorry.
This is the best part of it. It's just coming up with the title. That's the tagline.
Yeah. Because it makes you just go, oh, roll your eyes. But the whole thing is, she was a bad guy the whole time. So like, well, look what we have here. That's how the movie would open, where it's a bunch of like gross hunter redneck rapists, and they're just like looking at the girl in the well like, ugh, jackpot, we just found ourselves our latest victim, and you're like, oh no, little girl, and then the monster gets them, and so you open the movie with well,
Yeah. Like it. Or what if I know you just kind of threw it out as like an example, but what if let's go back to the Civil War thing.
Okay.
And we keep your little girl, but it's like this cute little black girl. And it turns out that this well was where they were, like, let's say this field used to be a plantation. And so the owner of this plantation was very cruel to his slaves. And, whenever one of them would die, they would throw him down this well because, like, we got to get rid of the bodies. Otherwise, when the cops come around, they'll be like,
yeah, those super non-racist cops, when they come around, they're not going to be happy that you're abusing your slaves.
I don't know if there was anyone doing...
But maybe it's we kill the girl, we hide the body, and we tell her parents your little daughter ran off, so they don't think... Because if they knew that their daughter was killed, maybe all the slaves would rise up against them, so they have to lie to them. Whatever.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe it's like they started throwing the bodies down there, and then there's this unknown entity creature, something like the Thing, and it's just like absorbing these people and like taking their...
The Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, it's like it's eating them, and it's not, and it kind of like... I don't want to say assimilating, but like it'll like get their... memories, and so it's as he's feeding on these people, it's also acquiring like all their rage and horror and sadness and anger at like the world that they are part of. So it's just this being that's getting like more angry and hateful because of like his victims suffered all these injustices.
If they were all socialites, he would be very content.
Yeah, he'd be in a real uppity monster. But he's absorbing all their sorrow, and this little girl is kind of like the last victim before the plantation is shut down and the Union won or whatever. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, maybe it's the last days of this.
Yeah,
they're cutting this stuff out.
And so like she is like the last one to get absorbed, but it realizes like, oh, because maybe her parents are the ones to get eaten. Her parents are the ones to get eaten last before her. Like somehow their love is so strong it kept the monster from eating her, but it still like took like absorbed part of her, so she could like still exist. So she's in this like state of like, I'm still separate, but I'm part of this monster.
Kind of like in Akira, where he's like a big globby monster, but he still has his body.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen Akira.
Okay.
It's more like she just imagine herself like normal, but there's just this like one string kind of thing that like goes into her back. So it's like she can't disconnect from the monster, but she can sort of like, or maybe she can, but it's kind of, we're connected through brain.
Sure.
What sort of telekinesis?
Yeah. No, telepathy.
Telepathy. Thank you. Telekinesis is where you move stuff.
Yep.
Anyway, so they're just like, this is my mom and dad, and she's just this creepy little girl because she loves this monster, but this monster is just like, all I care about is murder, eating all these awful people, and maybe just like hates all people at this point because it's absorbed so much sorrow and hate. And then it's like murdering indiscriminately, and then maybe this little girl's just like, I've been doing this for 300 years and I don't want to kill people anymore or whatever. I don't know timelines for the Civil War. 200 years ago?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
150? Who knows?
No one does know.
But yeah, maybe it's like, oh, the people the people in the movie, like, oh, we'll adopt you. Like, we need to get you out here. We need to get you away from this creature. And then you find out that, the creature is her mom and dad. And then it's like, oh, what do we do? And then the creature dies because like I love it, like, it does the thing with the fly, but it's just like, I love you, sweetie, and then they ask it to shoot it and blow its brains out or whatever, and then they take the little girl away, and that's the big twist at the end. They're driving the car and like, oh, we can finally be happy, and then you just see her like in the back of the car and she's dead because she's aged 150 years. It's very sad
because she's not connected to the thing anymore. So like she's not
they think like, oh, if we break this connection, she can finally like be free from this creature, but killing the creature kills her, and she just finally like ages very fast and
turns into a husk.
Yeah, but she got to know true love. By the end, I guess.
I was picturing like her on the back of a wagon, but still connected to the monster, and they're like, "We're gonna get you out of here," but it could only go so far, and it just yoink.
It's just flopping down the road.
Exactly.
All this black goo is like
but then it's
scraping.
stretching, and she's trying to hold on, and then yeah. Okay. I mean, if I saw that movie, I would not get Jeepers Creepers or The Ring from that. That's more of
we really
lean
into the well part of it and the timeline stuff.
So it's like more.
But, these are more of a jumping off point.
It's true. Yeah.
Is it this meets that?
Maybe not so much.
Well, part of Jeepers Creepers is like you don't know where this thing really came from.
Mm-hmm.
It is an unidentified hellspawn creature,
cryptid of some kind.
Yeah. And the ring does offer some sort of curse because like something happened to that little girl.
She died. Her mom strangled her, threw her in the well, but it didn't kill her. And then she put a lid over the well, and she just like starved to death for over the next 7 days.
Yeah.
And then they built a house or like a cabin over it, and someone was like recording a movie off of the TV, and the evil juju from the well came up and was recorded onto the tape.
Got it. I think we got there. There's the essence of there. We can add a home video element to the story in some regard. Maybe there. I don't know if I can care. Let's move on. Let's try
a different one. Okay.
Let's try a different one.
Well, we got to name it. But we got like a bunch of different versions going on. So,
I mean, well is the front runner. Unless we want to go with my Muppets idea, where we call it Meepers Peepers. So let's see. I can see the movie poster, and it's just called Well, and it's just a picture, it's like all the horror movie posters where it's like black and blue, and then it's like a dark night, and there's a well right dead center in the poster, and then there's either like a hand coming over it, or there's gonna be blood trickling down the side of it, and the tagline says
or it's like wet on the grass, so you can see something has come out of the well and it has left a little trail.
Yep.
Maybe in the background where there's woods, you see like 2 pin dot eyes glowing, something like that. And then there's a random like boot.
Yeah.
What's that? Did the monster have a boot, or did someone lose it going into the well, coming out of the well? Let's just call it the well.
The well. All right.
Well. Oh well.
It's too easy. Too easy.
Okay, I mean, we're stretching.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been too long. Okay. All right. Got something new. Totally different. I'm going to go polar opposite.
Okay. I don't know if we've ever used this one.
Well, I have the list. Do you want to look at it?
Sure.
Didn't I send you the list?
Maybe.
All right. Don't scroll up because I have my...
Man, we've done a lot of movies.
Well, we generally do about 3 bits every episode, and that's 6 movies just every single time. So, was it on there?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
Unless I missed it.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Dr. Dolittle.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. Revenge of the Nerds, college movie.
Yep.
There's the nerdy frat.
Yeah, they want to start their own frat. They get picked on by jocks. They want the babes. They rape one of them. It's a thing that happens in that movie. He's wearing a Darth Vader costume as he does it. They do a cool little robot song at the end. One of the big dumb jocks becomes one of the nerds because he was a closet nerd the whole time. Classic. And then Dr. Dolittle. I'm assuming you're thinking of the Eddie Murphy one.
Just more the concept.
Yeah.
And definitely I was leaning towards the Eddie Murphy one, but just more of the
scientists can talk to
scientists
animals.
can talk to animals. Yeah.
Okay.
Nerds?
See, I get looking back, I want to see Jeepers Creepers Dr. Dolittle. The Ring, Revenge of the Nerds. That sounds fun. This is so similar, just like the last one.
Okay. Well, my only thought is all right, a group of zoology students who are nerds for animals
Yeah.
are like, they're doing an internship at the local zoo in the area.
Okay.
And, they're everyone thinks that they're dorks and dweebs because they like have more in common with animals than they do with people. They're all socially awkward, and they're just like, "Oh, the penguins really get me," or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I identify more with the sloths than I do with my fellow classmates.
yeah, and then they're just like they're seeing all these parties happening, and there's the one kid who's like trying to be who's like more charismatic than the other ones. I guess they're like the leader. You're Sean Astin from the Goonies type,
Okay.
I guess. I don't know. I know those are kids and this is college people.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's just a thing that came into my mind. And so they're just like, guys, we need to throw a party. I already have the fucking name, Party Animals. That's the movie.
Okay.
All right, there you go. And so they're like, what if we bring the zoo to the frat house? And so and we call it Animal House. No. And so they just kind of like, or it's either they bring the animals to their house and have this party, and like all the girls are just like, oh, the squirrels are adorable because the squirrel exhibit at the zoo is super popular, and they just use their like animal facts to like impress people, or the guy's just like, oh well, how do we pick up girls? What are like the Panthers mating rituals? And so they like copy, they try, and that could lead to some funny things.
They're getting advice. Wait, isn't that the zookeeper? Doesn't Kevin James talk to the animals and they like?
I'm not saying they talk to animals, but the animals.
Oh.
I think that animals do.
Oh, then why do Dr. Dolittle? What the fuck? That's the whole point, is that he can talk to animals.
Look, I was just kind of leaning into the animals part. I forgot about the talking animal.
You heard party animal and went, that's all I need to know.
That's all I need to know.
Because in the zookeeper, like the bear goes, oh, you got to get really big and do this, and the ostrich is like, no, you got to shake your tail feathers.
Did you watch Zookeeper?
No,
or this is just
from the trailer.
Okay.
And so then he's hitting on Rosario Dawson, I think.
Was she in that movie?
Anyway,
okay, so that's you have the one charismatic who like wants to throw the party.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, he looks up upon the sky and he's like, I want to be big or whatever, but I wish the animals could understand me. They get me.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he can speak to animals and like, guys, you can help me throw this party. And he talks to the animals and they help him, and everyone's just like, Brian, there's a lion in your room. And he's like, oh, don't worry, that's Derek. He's cool. And then the lion roars and just like, shut up, Derek. And then we close the door. Whatever, I don't know.
Jesus. Oh, and it got disconnected. All right.
Damn it.
Okay. I think we're back A-okay now.
Sorry if there's any technical difficulties with this, man. But and then you have parts where they'll be like, he talks to the penguins like, emperor penguins mate for life, and that's like him talking to the girl he likes. There's one specific girl that he really wants, but of course she's like dating the hottest guy on campus or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you have what's some other animal stuff I know. Who fucking cares? But you throw something out.
Okay. What if we switch it around? There is a person who can talk to animals, and he has his whole life. And because he loves animals, he's working at a zoo, and he's friends with all of them. And he's talking to this chimp or chicken, I don't know, some animal. And
chimp or chicken.
Yeah.
Pretty big gap, but.
And it's the animal asking him advice. And like, I'm the dork chicken. I really want to hit on that ostrich because, like, look at that tall beauty. I would love to go after that. And so the human is giving all the advice that he can, but it's all human things. And so, like, you could have animals, like, negging each other, like trying different pickup tactics and stuff, and it's not working because the animals are going against their instincts. Like birds do a lot of like crazy dances, but this one's like trying to smoke. And he's like, yeah, they'll think this is cool. And he's got to be true to himself. He's got to like do his little chicken dance or whatever. I keep going to chicken. There's so many better animals in a zoo. I don't think there's ever chickens in a zoo.
No chickens in zoo.
Like a flamingo. I'm just going with the birds because they have the sort of mating dances that are pretty elaborate. So, you have a pigeon or a penguin. Look how small and dumpy I am. But look at that flamingo. Look at that ostrich. Look at the peacocks. Like they got it going on. And so maybe there's a bunch of nerds within the animal groups, and most of them are going after their same species, but I'm just not as beautiful as some of these other birds. And you have like the cocky birds, cocky chicken, and so they enlist the help of the zookeeper, Dr. Dolittle person, to just kind of learn from us.
Okay.
And it's more of like a family friendly thing. It's silly.
Yours is a kids movie. Mine is a teen comedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's called Cock of the Walk. And there's just got to be a chicken there for some reason.
I don't think you can sell a kids movie with the word
cock in it. Well,
there's
Rockadoodle.
I was about to say there's Rockadoodle, but it's not the same. I remember loving Rockadoodle as a kid.
Yeah.
I have no clue. I don't remember a single thing in that movie. I know it was like, wasn't it part live action, part
No,
cartoon?
I think it was all animated.
What the hell?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's like that time of Rockadoodle and then eventually like Fern Gully, Fievel Goes West, All Dogs Go to Heaven. I watched them, but I knew like these aren't Disney, so they're not good.
Interesting. I'll have to go back and watch some of those. Anywho. I'm just imagining a part in the movie where whoever's the main character and the animal or vice versa are having a conversation, and it's like, should I, what if I am with someone else? Will they take me back or whatever? And then it's like, cheaters never win. And then there's the cheat in the background's like, I win races all the time. It's like,
I resent that.
Yeah.
But he's playing cards and you see that he has like an extra ace, and he's like, hey, that's a stereotype. So I'm picturing kind of like Over the Hedge, kind of, like a little
so they can
sillier.
do human stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So is this more of a cartoon or is
I don't know. It could be like live action.
Okay.
And then
because I envisioned it live action, but it might work better as a cartoon.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go with yours.
Okay.
And what do we call this animated kids film about humans teaching animals how to date?
Human Nature.
I like it.
Okay.
Yep. Works.
I think that is a movie with Patricia Arquette, and she's like a super hairy person and has to like get all of her hairs laser removed, like so hairy looks like a Sasquatch.
Okay.
And everyone thinks she's like so ugly, but then she spends the time to get every hair removed. I don't know if it's the main point of it, but like, oh look, she was pretty under all that hair. I mean, it's Patricia Arquette, so not that pretty.
I have to cut that. Jesus Christ.
Have you seen her teeth? They're awful. All right, moving on. Okay, so we got to think of something that's not too similar.
All right.
So,
we don't know until we say
I know. That's why I'd like. We really need the jar, a jar of things, or it's a wheel with all the genres, and you spin it like, oh, you got horror, you got to pick one. Then I spin it, I got sci-fi, I got to pick that. So at least we can, judge and things a little bit easier.
I'm on a random movie generator website, and it's like, ooh, I would like to do this one, but I've never seen it, or I forget what it's, or I don't know it enough to like talk about it.
But that's the whole point. It's like you get the essence of that movie. You don't have to know all the details. I got so many good ones. Okay, I'm gonna pick a weird one.
Okay. It came up twice. I never saw it, but I get the idea of what it is. I'm going with it.
Okay. Now I'm second guessing myself.
We can call it Mulligan if we want.
Okay.
This is our show. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, and I could edit whatever I want out.
There you go.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Zach
Ambulance.
and Mirri make a porno.
Michael Bay's Ambulance and Kevin Smith. Zach and Mirri make a porno.
Huh.
Ambulance, I haven't seen.
I have not seen either.
Zach and Mirri make a porno. I have seen and like that movie.
Yeah. I heard Ambulance is, that's not so bad. has a lot of drone shots in it. Like,
I bet.
just anywho. So in Ambulance, you have Jake Gyllenhaal and someone else.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Yaya?
I believe
Yaya,
so.
sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And it's like, we're gonna do this big heist, and I need one more guy.
Yeah, they're like, I think they're old buddies.
They're old buddies.
And he's an ambulance driver. No.
No. The ambulance is just like their gimmick.
Yeah, it's like, and Yaya is struggling. I think he's got a family that he wants to.
I think his daughter's sick.
So yeah, he needs money really bad, and so his old friend is just like, "Hey man, I'm doing this robbery. You be the getaway driver, and we'll make a bunch of money, and all your problems are fixed." And then they rob a bank, and they hijack this ambulance with, I think it's Isa Gonzalez.
I think
from
so.
Three Body Crowd, and hilarity ensues.
Yeah, and she's just, she has to keep
an actual EMT.
She's keeping someone alive in the ambulance that they steal, because I think they have an ambulance, or regardless of how they are doing the robbery, they end up in an ambulance, and she has a patient, and she's trying to keep them alive. She refuses to leave, and then
so it's like kind of their hostages, but and so they're on the run.
So if you want to go, the first thought, hey man, my daughter's sick, I need money real quick. Well, my male performer in the porno industry that I run has called out sick. He came down with whooping cock. I'm sorry. And so I know, because we went to school together ever since junior high, and once puberty hit, we know you're packing heat. And we always said you should get in.
I saw you in the locker room that one time during gym class.
Everybody, was completely silent because they were in awe at your adult-sized penis on this young child's body.
We're gonna have to burn this episode, Ben.
And it's like, dude, I know. I'm like, Mr. Hung. Perfect. That's your name. You're Mr. Hung. I can't do it. Like, my wife would kill me. And so maybe he even talks to his wife, and she's like, well, actually, it's kind of hot. And I could only imagine, but I don't want you fucking random girls. So I guess I have to be in it too. And so they have to make a porno together to save their daughter. I don't like the daughter. Maybe not the daughter. They save their house. Their business. They're gonna be foreclosed on something. Maybe the stakes shouldn't be as high as dying daughter, and I gotta fuck to make her survive. That's just a little gross.
I mean, I feel like that's the perfect metaphor for America. Though.
Yeah,
I could see it being like,
this
is the lengths humans are going to. It's like, in order to support their daughter, it's like we had to do porn.
Yeah,
we don't want to be that, but then that could lead to. But this could be a nice thing. Their daughter's sick. Maybe it's not necessarily terminal, but it could be if it's not treated soon enough. Sure. We get him to star in it.
Sure, of course.
He was Dr. Manhattan.
And Dr. Manhattan hangs dong all the time. It makes sense. It all comes together.
Perfect circle. But this could be a movie where it's obviously a comedy, but the daughter finds out about it at some point, obviously doesn't watch it, or maybe walks in to them. Because the stories of just oh yeah, I walked in my parents one time, or I heard noises, but usually they walk in and they're under the sheets and they're just honey,
we're wrestling.
We're wrestling or whatever.
We're trying to make the bed.
But it's kind of like that, and then she's like, oh okay, and then she looks over and there's a whole camera crew, and it's what are they here for? But then it becomes a discussion of parents having the talk, and this is proper sex education, and maybe that's what it becomes. Maybe it starts off as porn, and then you kind of do the girl next door thing, where we make porn, but it's for sex education kind of stuff, and not necessarily for their. I'm not saying that she's a 5-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
But whatever, you could spin this in a way that's okay, we did this, but now we're making a positive thing. Where it's a lot of people were saying, oh, this is. When it first came out, we were like, oh, this is so fucked up. Why would you do this? But it's a scathing indictment of the American capitalism system and the education system. It's now we did this, and our daughter is more knowledgeable of, or son, it doesn't matter, of proper boundaries and consent, and also like how to properly spend your money, and don't have kids because they'll drain you of your money or whatever it is.
And like I could even see if it is their son and they're listening in and he's with his little friends and they're all talking about what they know about sex and it's all wrong, how to put on a condom, and if you don't ejaculate your balls could explode, and all these things that you hear when you're in elementary school, junior high. And so that's one of their things of, well, yeah, if we do this as an educational thing, we don't have to have a generation of complete morons.
Yeah. Maybe the wife is a teacher and the husband has lost his job or something, and maybe he has a background and he calls up his old buddy from high school, like you said. And
he should be a doctor.
Okay.
So it's like a teacher and a doctor.
Teacher and doctor, yeah.
Maybe he's a fertility doctor.
There you go.
Okay.
And he gets fired or maybe he was like a OBGYN?
Yeah, a gynecologist.
A gynecologist?
Male gynecologist is gross. He's the teacher. She's the gynecologist.
Sure. So she loses her job because maybe she gave an abortion or something like that.
Okay.
In a time,
we're in Texas.
Yeah, we're sure. And she's like, this is fucked up. And the husband loses his job because the school board finds out he did a porno with his wife. But then
he would lose his job before he did the porno, right? Because they would need the money because he lost his job. So that's why they're making the porno.
Don't make a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Or he could lose his job too.
Or it's like your wife did this gross liberal thing. We don't want you teaching, our students, because if your wife is okay with this, then you're probably okay with it. Maybe he was
just like teaching a banned book or something like that.
Or
something. And then it's like, we lost our jobs because of the system, and now we're going to fight back against the system with porn? Could be kind of fun.
Yeah. Because maybe they have to go into it and they don't like it. Like they visit the set and like the sounds, the smells, the flies buzzing around the catering, the sleazy directors and stuff, like, this isn't for us. We don't think we can do this. And, I don't want to sleep with someone that isn't my wife or my husband. And so maybe that's where the Jake Gyllenhaal character comes in. He works on set, as sound or something like that. And he goes, hey, you guys have a good look and everything. And I get it. Everything that you don't like about the porn industry, I don't like about the porn industry. But it makes me some good money. Maybe we can team up and we can do something that's got a little more class to it.
Right. And maybe he's like, I went to film school and I ended up here because this is the only thing that I could get. And it got me money, but I have an artistic vision. And so like, that you can do that. And then you have like, we bring in the Seth Rogen character for comic relief, and he's like the cameraman or something.
Sure,
like that.
yeah.
And he's like cracking jokes, and he's like still kind of sleazy.
Yeah,
but it's like you kind of need him because
he's expecting all the weird terminology and positions and stuff. So he's always calling out like, like, why don't you do the donkey punch or whatever? And it's like, we don't know what that is. So he's teaching them the world of porn, and they're able to spin it in a clean, not so disgusting way.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to sound gay or nothing, but I think unicorns are badass. If you haven't seen it, folks, watch Orgasmo.
Yes.
That's great.
I like this.
I like
this is a good one.
I think this is fun.
I think one of them just has to be a doctor because we have to tie ambulance in besides they need money. Because that was kind of the Zach and Mirri make a porno anyways. They needed money as well.
Well, I think like maybe he'll play a doctor in the porno, obviously, and there can be a scene in an ambulance and just like, oh no, this patient's dick isn't working or whatever. Better put the paddles on.
Yeah.
And here's why that wouldn't work, kids.
Yeah. Yep.
Or something.
Taking blood pressure with the cuff around the dick and, squeeze it and it gets stuck. I can't release the pressure. You got some wacky comedies of, it's too hard. I could see them, since one's a doctor, paying off a friend like an ambulance driver so they can film in the back of one. Yeah, this is kind of a fun movie.
Let's write it up, Ben. Let's write our first porno together.
Now, the thing is with this, so many porno names would probably work well for this movie. And I think it needs to kind of invoke that silly kind of porno title. But it needs to also reflect the education that's going on.
Like the easy thing to do would be call it Sex Education. But there's a famous show called Sex Education. It's too easy. I think there's a movie called Sex Ed. It's like it's the go-to.
Yeah.
So we have to skip that one. Like the first thing that popped in my head was like playing doctor because they are acting.
But that's like
that's also
Catch
like,
Me If You Can. Someone's pretending to be a doctor and scamming people.
Yeah, but wasn't that like when you were kids, like, oh, we're gonna play doctor, and
little kids showing each other their genitals for the first time is playing doctor. Yeah, but that's not really what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, one's a doctor and one's a teacher, so calling it playing doctor seems unfair.
I have the tagline.
Okay.
So it's on the longer side. But it's like when they were asked to do porn, they said porn, no. Wait, no, I fucked it up because they say when you think about at first they thought porno, then they thought porn, yes. There's a tagline. There's a comma and question marks.
That's so clunky.
All right, cut it now.
The wording is bad, but like
the idea was there. All right, skip it.
No, but I think there's something there.
What do you call it? Porn, yes, and
just porn, yes.
Yeah, but and the poster it says porno, and then they have the graffiti where you scratch out the no, so you can still see it, but then in like the red marker or red spray paint or whatever, it says yes next to it.
Yeah.
So it porn, yes.
Yeah.
That's my best idea I have right now. Give me a second.
Okay, I'm trying to piece. There's like for richer or for poorer. It's like for richer or for porno. Because it's like they're trying to earn money as well, and then they turn it into a sex education thing. It doesn't start that way. Like they're doing it to survive, to keep their heads afloat.
I got it.
Oh god.
You call it porno money. Poor, no
money.
And then, but you kind of combine the you however you do the graphic, it looks like porno, but it's poor, no money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's porno money because they're getting money from the porno.
Yeah. It's just like porno has one O and poor has two O's.
Well, that's for the graphics department to worry about on the poster.
Okay, I'll just put it like porno money, just to be simple. It's a good placeholder.
Yeah.
If this was a real studio thing, they'd be like, okay, that's fine. Put it on the title sheet. We'll think of something better.
Yeah, that's how it ships to the theaters. It ships to theaters under porno money.
Yeah, Regals and AMCs are gonna love getting a bunch of reels that say porno money. Okay.
All right. I think we got one more on us.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we're
cooking.
The juices are flowing.
Ugh.
Did you ever see Project Almanac?
Yeah.
What was that?
So like the time travel,
right?
Yeah, and a bunch of kids.
It was like it was like one of the
kind of
found footage stuff was big.
The only thing I truly remember is it's one of those like you go back in time and you find yourself already doing something that you haven't done before. It's like, oh, you weren't the first iteration of this; you're one of the others, and they went back in time to win the lottery, but then they fucked up and forgot one of the numbers or did it incorrectly, so they only won like $30,000 and they look all miserable when they're taking their check. Yeah, don't do Project Almanac.
I wasn't. It just kept popping up. Like I can still almost see the trailer in my mind because I feel like I watched a bunch, but I never saw the movie. Okay, it's a weird one, and I haven't seen it, but I know what it's about.
Okay. All right. Fourth and final. 1, 2, 3.
An American Pickle.
Okay, How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay.
Interesting. American Pickle sucks.
Yeah, I was going to watch it, and then you told me it sucked, and so I was like, all right, I'll skip it. So for those who don't know, because I don't think many people saw this movie, American Pickle stars Seth Rogen as a pickler from like the 1800s who falls into his vat of brine, and it preserves him until he wakes up in modern day times.
Yep.
And so he's this weird pickler who now has to discover how to live in today's society.
And he meets up with his only living ancestor, also played by Seth Rogen, who's kind of a loser, and they kind of clash because oh, you need to find yourself a good woman, and like, oh, I would, but it's not as important to me, and like their sensibilities are very different. And How to Train Your Dragon is like a Nordic animated movie about Flick. What's his name? Flint.
Oh shit, what is his name?
Anywho, about
a young boy
who's like the son of the king, and
yeah, sure.
and they everybody trains dragons. Like you tame one, and then that becomes
the first movie. They're a village that constantly is under attack by dragons. They kill dragons.
That's right.
He goes to kill his first dragon, befriends it, and then through their power of friendship, everyone's like, "Oh, we can work with the dragons."
That's right.
So they all, become dragon riders by the end of the first one.
Yeah, and all the dragons are horribly ugly and are terrible designs, except for Toothless. They just said, let's make a cat with the personality of a dog. And
well,
it's
Toothless
adorable.
is great, and the villain of the first movie is very scary.
Yeah, I never saw the third one.
Third one's great.
I hear
they're all great.
I hear they're all good, but they never. I don't know. I like them, but I don't care. Do you care about like the live action that's coming out?
No.
I wonder if they're going to go with the silly aspect, or if they're going to try to let's put some grit on this, and because it's dragons in the live action.
Have to.
I think it could still be kind of fun. Are you thinking like PG or PG-13?
I think PG-13. I think it's going to try and not as dark and serious. Hiccup. Thank you. Yeah. I think it's going to go more like. It's definitely going to be an adventure film, but it's going to try and like Lord of the Rings it up a little bit in terms of like we got to have like cool battle sequences, but still like. If we're gonna bring kids in, like they're gonna slay dragons, but you're never gonna see like any blood from the dragons. Like you'll know it gets stabbed in the chest and dies, or whatever, but you don't see anything like it's too violent. But I think you'll.
And I think that the designs of all these really ugly dragons would look better in live action. I think a gross dragon in a cartoon that are good guys, that kind of doesn't work. That's got to be your bad guy. But I think if you put it in live action, the dragons could look all types of ways.
Yeah.
Whew, so how to pickle your dragon?
Okay. So I got it.
Okay.
Back in medieval times, this is a world where dragons did exist, obviously. And there's all these theories of today's society. It was like, were dragons real? How could they exist across multiple, continents and all this stuff? And like, are their bones made like birds and they dissolve and then whatever? All those theories.
Wow, deep.
So there is the movie opens in a flashback in whatever medieval times, and there's a warrior, and he's with a band of warriors, and they're like, we need to defeat the witch before she, casts a spell and destroys it, or maybe their village. You just know that their village was just destroyed, and it's from this, or they believe it's from this witch. She's got some flying creature or whatever, and so they go down in this cavern. A cauldron is bubbling as your classic witch character, and a fight ensues. But then you realize, oh, she has a dragon, and so this dragon is real, and a battle ensues. But then the person, the main warrior guy, gets thrown to the cauldron, and he's like, "Whoa!" and does that like swirling thing, and then ends up in modern times.
Okay.
And he's like, "Oh, I've been banished to this modern day realm," and teams up with someone in the modern day. It's like, "Oh, this witch." It's like, if we get back to the witch's lair, which I know is through, we'll get there, is somewhere here. You need to help
in Times Square.
It's in Times Square, but also the dragons somehow came back into the portal as well. So it's like, oh, if we find the dragon will lead us to the witch's lair, because the dragon needs to get back there too, and then hopefully we can get back to my timeline. But maybe the dragon is like causing havoc, but then they become friends, because actually you find the twist in the movie is the dragon is under the witch's spell, and it's just like didn't want to do anything bad, or maybe the dragon was a human at one point and was turned into a dragon.
Okay.
You can do something like that.
Kind of like the Ice Godzilla in Kong Godzilla.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have these this dragon and this warrior out of time. They Captain America'd it, and they're in today's society, and they have to get back to their own timeline through the power of friendship. I guess I don't know.
How big is this dragon?
It is I want to say it's like lion size.
Okay.
It can fit into an apartment if you really need to, but when it gets angry, it's like a pufferfish and becomes a big dragon, or maybe through some sort of magic thing, it can sort of like part of that's what separates it. This will be our cool dragon thing.
Okay.
It's like this dragon can change sizes.
Okay.
So it's like battle mode. It's like pretty big, but when it's not in danger or anything, it can shrink down to a smaller size.
Okay. So I imagined, so they're going to kill this witch, and say one of the hero grabs, they slay the big dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the witch is doing her brew, and it grabs one of the babies and like knife to the throat. Like, you're going to pay for this, or I'm going to kill the last dragon on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
She does her spell. And so when you go back in time, he could have a dragon that's a lot smaller, dog size, cat size, and it can get bigger. Like, say dragons just grow really, really fast. So it's not instantly flying over the United States, getting shot down by our government.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's trying to keep it hidden, wearing it under a coat. And, silliness. What's the tone of this movie? Kind of silly?
I guess. This feels like a movie that would only exist in like the 80s or early 90s, and kind of in that realm. Or because maybe it's the thing of in the past you see these warriors and you think they're going there to kill the dragon, and the dragon that's attacking them is under the witch's spell, but it's mainly because the witch is like taking its babies hostage, kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's why the dragon.
Okay.
So they're actually trying to rescue the dragon, and when he gets tossed back or sent to the future, he is able to grab the dragon and pulls. It's like, oh, we need to get this dragon back to my time, get it back to its mother or whatever, and then they bond because like the dragon's a newborn baby, and so this guy's like raising this dragon kid in a time period that he's not accustomed to.
Okay.
And then he meets a fair maiden who he
always
falls in love with, and it's like, do I go back to my time? It's like, well, you have this dragon, it's getting bigger, it can't stay here, we can't keep hiding it for much longer. And it's gonna like grow up, and it's gonna need to eat, and it's gonna be eating people or livestock, and they're just gonna kill it. People in this time aren't gonna protect dragons like you do in your time, so we gotta get you back to your time. And so they can't fall in love, or he just sends the dragon back, but he stays,
or she goes back with him. Like, she's disillusioned with this time.
The dating scene in New York is crazy.
I mean, she's reading like old romance, and she romanticizes the past.
She's a fantasy author.
And and like, man, I would love to be a damsel being rescued by my handsome prince. Like, she just yearns for that, because all the dudes she comes across are just like, hey, you want to go out sometime? Send nudes, or, how much to sniff your feet. They're just all fucking creeps. So maybe she goes back with him. And then she realizes everybody has the worst fucking breath in the world and goes, I made a mistake.
And then they send her scrolls that just say, write nudes.
And like, she writes stories and stuff that last the test of time, and that's her in the future. She read her own stories, and that made herself fall in love with this, because she has to send her back somehow. And maybe she is an ancestor of the witch.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so how do they get back, though? Like, how is the witch still alive doing these things? Like, oh, we know where her cave was, but the chances of the witch still making brews down there. So it can't be something in her cauldron. It has to be like a naturally occurring thing. This spring in this cave has magical properties, and that's the portal. And then they're trying to get back there. Well, maybe the spring is still there, and we can use it again, because I remember those magic words that she said to bring it alive.
Yeah.
And then it can be it's just a building now. They've demolished this whole thing.
Yeah, or it would be one of those things where he fell through. So maybe the witch has this mirror, and the witch is kind of just like, I've seen things you can't even imagine. I've traversed time and space. Like this witch is not your traditional like. I mean, I guess it could be like this plain-nosed, warded witch, but it's like I'm a being that has like went through time and space and seen things you can't even comprehend, and maybe she's just talking about like the New York subway system. I've seen steel birds take to the skies.
Giant metal worms burrowing through the ground.
But she has like she has this mirror, and that's kind of like what she uses to like teleport in places. And then when he goes to the future, he's like, I don't even know where to start. And it's like medieval exhibit, New York Museum. And it's like, and then on one of the posters, you see this like fancy mirror. It's like that's the one. That's the witch's mirror. You need to break into the museum and get inside.
Okay. Yeah, and then you have this dragon that's getting bigger daily, lumbering behind them, knocking over sculptures.
Yeah, you put it can walk on its two hind legs. You put a long trench coat over the hat. It kind of has to like mushu its way in past.
It's very Scooby Doo.
Yeah,
you know. Okay,
sir, do you have your ticket? And then it like burps and it burps fire.
Yep.
Whoa, someone had some spicy food. All right, sir.
Is that from that new Thai place?
Yeah. So if we go that route, this movie's fucking dumb.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't want this dark. I don't want this to be...
No, it should be kind of fun.
A Christian Bale dragon movie.
Rain of
Fire. I don't want it.
I think it'd be more like Enchanted.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of that vibe.
Absolutely.
Enchanted meets... I know this is not... This meets that, but Enchanted and a kid in King Arthur's court kind of thing.
Sure.
Even though I haven't seen that movie. Or if I did, it was fucking 38 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not even 38. So yeah,
no, that's good because
I think there's something we could work with.
Because really, what can you can't train dragons in the modern day, so you can't do that sort of thing unless like all the dragons are trapped in a cave and then years later they're unleashed. Oh, now it's just Rain of Fire again.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's like a baby dragon and the warrior and his love interest in the movie are kind of raising it because it's like, this dragon thinks I'm its mother or dad or whatever
because it just hatched.
I have to teach it to be a dragon. So
that's why it's walking on its hind legs because it's following him. It's like, no, on all fours, and it doesn't. It's like stepping in dog poop and different trash, and like, stands up and is walking like a person.
You could do some comical stuff with that. So it's teaching it to be a dragon, and that dragon will help him defeat the witch at the end. And maybe the witch comes. They finally get to the portal or the mirror thing, and like, all right, we're about to cross through, and then pop goes the witch through it, and like, I thought I defeated you back in my time. It's like, oh no, dearie, now you have to face me here. And she's like a final boss of the movie, so that's the climax. She's casting spells, and like all the medieval armors are like coming alive, and he's got to like use his sword to fight these reanimated armors and stuff. And the girl's just like, Toothless, whatever your dragon name is, like. Fire Blaster! He's a Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, like she treats him like Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah, so she trains this dragon through her fandom of Pokemon.
Okay.
And that's how they defeat the witch, is the warrior and the dragon team up and beat her, and they go back to their time, and then the girl comes with, and they all live happily ever after in this fantasy world, and all is well. And then her writings go through time. Like, wow, she was way ahead of her time, and he becomes a great lord. And it's all in this from this fake land that we made up. Fake landia.
It's like the past is fake land, the future or the present is normal America.
Yeah. Of course.
One, can the witch, since she has traveled throughout time, maybe she's established in modern time and she's an Elon Musk type, she's someone who is culturally significant, and like saying that the young girl, the love interest, is related. Maybe it is her grandma in this time. And so when she shows up, she's like, Grandma, where have you been? You went missing ever since your plane went down over the Bermuda Triangle. And it's like that gives an excuse for her to like dip out of time and go do something else.
Oh, she travels for business, but really she's
going other places.
Yeah, she's like Agatha from the MCU. That kind of character, but
and I want this dragon, since it's American Pickle, I want it to be kind of green and have those pickly bumps on its back.
Oh,
I want it
okay.
to be kind of pickle aesthetic.
Okay, I like it.
Just it's just a demand I have.
And I think
Otherwise,
that's what you call it. You call it pickle.
just pickle?
Yeah.
Oh, because they're in a pickle.
They're in a pickle,
Mhm.
and maybe
Pickle in time. Like a wrinkle in time.
Damn, that's good. Yeah, so it comes back with him, and he's like, "Oh, he needs a place to hide," and he like breaks into this lady's house, the Lovinger's house, and she's just like, "Hey, get out of here!" And she's got her can of mace, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, fair maiden, I don't mean you any harm." And then she like hears a sound, and it's like, "What's that?" And she looks over, and the like, little dragon is scurried off, and it's like stuck in the pickle jar, like trying to eat.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that'd be a cool shot. Like the camera pans over, and it just looks like two pickles, but then the pickle's eyes open.
Oh,
It's like,
okay.
oh, it's just a tiny little dragon, and they call it Pickle because it was in the pickle jar, but then it gets bigger, and so now they're in a big pickle.
See, I like what if, say, it kind of was kind of like Toothless, where it's just all black, and once it eats the pickle, it gets that pickly design. So then if it ate a tomato, you know, it would get a tomatoey design, and maybe that's one of the fun things of the dragon.
Like a chameleon dragon.
It could, whatever it's eating, it could take the form of, but it really likes those pickles, so it kind of keeps that, and you just name the dragon Pickle.
Yeah, I like it. A dragon named Pickle's cute.
Yeah, should it be called A Dragon Named Pickle?
Yeah, let's go with that. A dragon named Pickle. A Pickle in Time is also pretty good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't quite catch the won't draw the attention of viewers. Like, what is that? But A Dragon Named Pickle, they're like,
A Dragon Named
that sounds
Pickle.
cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll take my kids to A Dragon Named Pickle. Yeah. And then they could use that for, like, we gotta hide him. Like, oh, but he's standing out so much, and he has to eat a certain thing, and then he's able to blend into the wall. You know, like he eats a rock or whatever, and he gets kind of like rock formed. And that's just kind of what they do.
Cool.
Good job, Steve. That was a good one. That was all you. I didn't have much of anything. I was initially going to say they went to go fight a dragon, and it breathes its fire, and it kind of melts the cave around them, and that's what freezes them in time. Like they're stuck in amber. Like the dragon knows it's about to die, and so a last ditch effort, just melt everything around. But for some reason, it doesn't kill the people as well. And then archaeologists dig them up, and then we have Rain of Fire. But then as you kept going, it's like, nope, don't want that Rain of Fire stuff. So good job. All right, so we got The Well, Human Nature, Porno Money, and A Dragon Named Pickle. All movies that could exist. And actually, probably The Well does exist. I bet that is a horror movie already.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, I know Human Nature is one. Plenty of movies called Porno Something or some American Porno, things like that. But those are good. I like those.
There is a movie that came out in 2023 called The Well.
2023, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, what is it about?
It is not rated. It's an hour and a half. A budding art restorer travels to a small Italian village to bring a medieval painting back to its former glory. Little does she know, she is placing her life in danger from an evil curse and monster born of myth and brutal pain. And the poster is a creepy witch standing over a well where it's filled with blood. Almost exactly how I imagined it. What did I say?
Yeah.
Minus the
but
witch
it has
lady.
something with a painting? But it mentions nothing about a well in the description.
Nothing. I'm guessing that the well is the painting.
Oh. Okay.
Oh my God.
All right, those were all some pretty good choices. So if you want us to mash up your two movies, hit us up on wrplpodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. Any of those, you should be able to get in touch with us. So as always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And I don't remember how to sign these ones off.